So hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today we'll be seeing week 3 practicals. Okay. So I've already covered the theory in the theory video obviously. So we'll just jump straight ahead into the practical. So first practical thing is showing you this inheritance as subclass. So I'll just copy this directly. Okay. Yeah. So I have extensions that will just like name दे देंगे उसको like जो भी यहाँ पे main class होता है उसका name लेंगे आपसे. So obviously I have more than one class, so I will need to have more than one public class, so I need to have more than one file for that. Okay. Uh, okay. So now I have two files. Okay. This is a main file. Okay. And these are the two manager and the employee. I will focus, uh, so this is employee, this is manager. Employee has two instance variables that are private, and then it has the constructor, then it has the data methods, and all this is explained. Okay. And extends is what the keyword is to tell Java that it is basically inheriting. Manager is inheriting from employee class, and then obviously whichever the subclass is, the child class, it will have a sort of it will have its own instance variable and its own method. So firstly, see, it has its own separate private category, private instance variable that is secretary, and then what it does is it is calling the manager. Okay, it is calling the constructor. It is defining the constructor here. It is defining the constructor here with three parameters, and it is passing two of them to super. Basically, meaning that the first two variables, name and the double s, will get passed to here, passed to this one, public employee. Okay, this constructor. So basically, this line will set the instance variables of name and salary, and then this sets the secretary. Then after that, this just calls this sets the secretary. This is useful when I already told you useful if secretary changes. Okay. So let's just see what we have been given after this. Okay. Let's see what it says. Okay. A is equal to new manager. Uh, what it takes three, right? So man, comma 20.3, and then so, so this is fine. And then employee takes two variables. So first I'll pass EMP, and then I'll pass 20 points. Right? See, it says that type error, type mismatch cannot convert from employee to manager. Okay, this is not correct because every employee is not a manager. Okay, but every manager is employee. You see, there is no problem here. There is no problem in this one. Okay. Okay. So let me do this. First is normal. You know normal things. Okay. But I will still show this method overriding part. We have method overriding. Right? Yeah, we have method overriding. Okay. So first is just after this we are being taught this only. Okay. Yeah. So typecasting is just after this. Okay. So fine. We will do this first. We'll go topic by topic. I won't jump ahead. Okay. Oh, sorry. See, there is no error in this. Okay, this is fine. Uh, nice. Yeah. And also, but see, what the error is type mismatch cannot convert from employee to manager. Why? Because this employee is not a subtype of manager, but a manager is subtype of employee. So this one is giving no error. Okay, even if now if I run this Control Alt N, so there will be no output obviously, but there will be no error either. Okay, because we are not printing anything here, so there won't be any error. But if I do this, then there should be an error. Okay. Main class, incompatible types. Employee cannot be converted to manager. Okay. Simple. So this was the first thing, important thing. Okay. This was upcasting like we saw. And this was upcasting. Okay. This was upcasting. Okay. This was upcasting. Not every employee is a manager. Okay. We also saw what this means. This means that we are defining E as a variable, which is telling Java that it contains an employee or it references the employee variable, employee class. But in reality, it is containing the manager option. Okay, more on this in the theory video. Okay, so after this, okay, then there comes static type checking. Okay, okay. So we will comment this line since we will need this right now. Okay, okay. Now E is a uh, so E is employee reference, but it contains a manager. Okay. Okay. So now if we call uh, e dot get name, okay. Let's say e dot get name, and then we will run this thing, print element, we to do this, this, so, so now if we run this, see man, because we had man, okay, fine. But if we run system.out.println e dot get see there is no like it is not showing the security class. Okay, that is enough of the proof that you don't that you can't apply that. Okay, so it is showing error here only. The method get secretary is undefined for the type because employee is not, referencing the employee class. He is referencing the employee class. Okay, so if I run this, so it will just give me an error. Okay, cannot find symbol. Huh? Cannot find symbol. Session of the read. Okay. Yeah. Variable e of type employee location variable e of type employee because employee does not have that. But if I call it e dot bonus, then it will work. See, now it will work. Okay. So this was two things. Okay. This was static type checking first. Okay. Static type checking first. I can zoom this, right? Yeah, I can zoom this. So first is get either get salary, either get secretary that I showed that are both not okay. Okay. Either get salary is fine because he is referencing employee. Okay. But either get secretary will give you an error because get secretary is available for manager and not for employee. Okay. Now comes the important part of error bonus, which is called dynamic dispatch. Okay. Dynamic dispatch. Let me remove this line. Now bonus is a procedure that is or method that is defined in both the classes. Okay, both the classes. Basically, what it does is it is first defined in the employee class, which is a parent class, but it is getting overwritten by the um, child class. Okay, so when we call e dot bonus, it is actually calling this function. Okay? This is actually calling this function. Why? Because um, e is an employee reference, but since this is an overridden method, okay, so it will see what it actually holds. Okay, in case of static checking, what it did is, uh, since static checking does not have the problem of overwriting method, okay, since because get salary or get name or whichever was which were we using? We were using e dot get salary and get secretary, right? Get salary and get secretary. So get salary is only defined in the employee class. Get salary सिर्फ employee class में है, get secretary सिर्फ manager class में. तो यहाँ पे कंफ्यूजन का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है कि दोनों का नेम अलग है, दोनों अलग चीज है, दोनों अलग मेथड्स है. प्रॉब्लम कहाँ पे आ रही है या मतलब वहाँ पे ध्यान देने की बात है जहाँ पे ओवर राइटिंग की प्रॉब्लम आ जाती है. मतलब यहाँ पे दोनों जगह बोनस है, यहाँ पे बोनस है, यहाँ पे बोनस है, सेम चीज है. दो लोग एक ही इंटीजर आउट इनपुट ले रहे हैं ना, मतलब दोनों सॉरी दोनों एक ही पैरामीटर एज इनपुट ले रहे हैं. तो यहाँ पे दिक्कत है. यहाँ पे क्या करता है जावा, व्हाट जावा डज हियर इज इंस्टेड ऑफ रेफरेंसिंग दिस, ओके, दैट व्हाट टाइप इट इज ऑफ, इट sees what it really contains in reality, what of class, what object it contains of which class. Okay, so it contains a manager means this class manager class. Okay, so then it will call the procedure inside this class manager class. Okay, and not here. Okay, if I do %1 here and %1 here. See here because of the extension you can see that it is not showing %1 but it is showing percent because this is the variable here percent. But, but if I do e dot uh, okay, it will won't be there. Okay, so it is just showing, sorry. So it will call this one. Okay, so this was dynamic dispatch and static sorry dynamic dispatch and static type checking. Okay, both we have done e dot bonus. Okay, e dot bonus this because percent because it is referencing this one. If I do it %2 here, so it will get changed here also. Should have been changed. There's the problem of there's the problem of the extension problem. If you call this one, okay, be sure of that. If you call this one, okay. That's also what we have to. This invokes the method bonus define a manager class. Since the actual, I should maybe do this. This invokes the method bonus define the manager class. Okay, because this invokes the method bonus define the manager class. Okay, since the actual object in the variable a is a type manager. Okay? But it so it is basically this that भले ही वो e कुछ भी हो मतलब यहाँ पे कुछ भी हो, it actually contains a manager, so it will call the manager function. Okay, that's all. और वो बस एक सेकंड की दिक्कत है. Forget about it. एक्सटेंशन दिक्कत है. Hmm. So yeah. So this was done. This is done. Static typing in this dynamic display is done. Function signature I already told. There's not much to show here, but okay. Go to the example and you will go to the theory. You will see what signature is. Okay. Now let's go do this. So do we have plus? I will move this. Okay. Let me instead of here, I will call this list. But okay. Class animal. Let me do this. So we have a parity. Okay. So we close this one. Reduce this. This should be visible enough, or I will just increase it little. It is recording, right? Yeah, it is recording. It is fine. Good. So class animal, there is class animal. Public void sound makes public void make sound, and then public void make sound. Okay. So basically, both have uh, both have the same name. Okay, and same number of parameters. That is none. Okay. Both are taking no parameters as input. Uh, but see, when we are defining the animal, okay, we have made an animal. So what we are calling it as animal. Okay. See this thing. Okay, animal. Okay, this line on this line on. When we see this thing, this animal, okay, what it does is this goes back to this one, okay. This goes back to definition, okay. It checks what the class is, okay. The class of which this object belongs, okay. So it sees that it belongs to the animal class. Okay? So now it will go back to the animal and it will call that, okay. So it will call animal dot make sound. So basically meaning it will call this one, okay. Now, rather, cat. Okay. So when the cat dot makes sound Java reaches this line, or Java runs this line, what it does is it goes back to the cat, that is line 18. It goes back to here. It checks cat is an object of the cat class. Okay. So it will call this make sound. Okay. So that's what is happening here. If you run this, so first will be animal make sound, second will be cat meows. Okay. So this was method overloading. Overloading, same method being used both at both places, but with but the interpretation is different based on which object is calling that function. Okay. So this is method overriding. Method overloading is different thing. Method overloading was let me show you method overloading also. I will show it here only. Let's say public void make make sound, but now it takes string as an input. And what it does is, let's say it system dot out dot println. What it does, it let's say just print. So, so now if I do make sound, okay, then I am running the same thing again. Animal make sound, animal cat make sound. Okay, fine. Now if I do animal dot make sound, but I pass a string hello. See, it is not using the string. Okay, it is not using the string anywhere, but it is just taking it as input. Okay. So now if I run this, it will say three things. Okay. First, it calls this one. Okay, it calls this one because in line number 19 we have not passed any input to it. Okay, so it calls this function, and in line number 20, since we have passed an input, so it calls this function. Okay, so this is method overloading, and what we saw this make sound class card class cat and slash animal both overrides the same sound, say the same procedure, that is called method overriding. Okay. This was done, this is done, this is done. Okay, now typecasting. We need the method of this again. I'll keep the class test. I will remove all these things. Okay, I will remove all this. Okay. Now let's go back to our this example again. Okay, now what we did, employee E is equal to new manager. Okay, let's say not new manager. Let's say second is salary, right? Let's say 20.87. What it takes? It takes uh, manager it takes double, right? It takes a double, right? Yeah, double salary and also double salary. Yeah. So after that, secretary is let's say string, you know. So let's do this and let's remove the map. So this was what we did. Okay. So now if I say let me define a manager, get secretary. We also have get details, right? e dot get name if I do, and then I do system dot out dot println and delete those things, and then if I run it, it says manager. Okay, so basically, get name is not defined inside this. Okay? So it is fine. Okay, so this is basically to check if it is running fine. This was all I did. Okay, now let's go to typecasting. Okay? We are already in typecasting. Wait, we are already in typecasting, and here the first is upcasting. So this is upcasting itself. Okay, assigning a subclass as a reference of the superclass. Okay, so the superclass is indeed referencing as a subclass. Okay, so this is a superclass. He belongs to a superclass. Okay, employee is a superclass, but in reality, it contains a manager object. So this is upcasting. Okay, upcasting and downcasting is based on the name of the hierarchical design. Okay, now comes downcasting. Downcasting, I showed you one example that let's say I have a float f is equal to 23.45f, and then I have the inti is equal to b do int of f, and then I just print it. System I print. I, if I run this thing, it says 23. Okay, so ignore this line. Okay, ignore this line, and let me do this. What this is doing? Sorry, no. Yeah. What this is? This is downcast. This is actually downcast. Okay, because we are losing information, right? Float int. Okay, we are losing information. Kind of, you can think of it like this. This is not exactly the example, but you can think of it like this. This is also a type of downcasting. Okay, now let's go back to our example. For now, what we have e, which is actually an employee but contains a manager. Okay, but for but we cannot use the methods defined inside manager. Okay, if I do e dot get secretary, okay, it will give me error. Okay, okay, it will give me error because the method e get secretary is undefined for the type employee. Okay, so since e is an employee, it can't use the methods defined inside manager. Okay, so let's say I want e to be a manager so that I can use the defined like procedure defined inside manager. So what I will do is, let's say I want to get secretary, get this name secretary. Let's give her a near name. Let's say Rita, the most common name. Okay. Now to type to downcast, what we do, manager. Okay, we want to cast it to manager. We say e dot get secretary. Then do this. We say system dot out dot println system dot out dot println dot get secretary. Uh, Manager e dot get secretary, and we do another. And this bracket is closed. This is manager e dot get secretary. Okay, so this should work. Okay, see Rita. Okay, but if I do it e dot get secretary here and do this, it will give me error first. Okay, see. Line 11, it is getting stuck at line 11 itself. Okay, it is not even reaching this stage. Okay, but as soon as I do this, it will start running. Okay, Rita. Because Java now sees this as a manager. Okay, Java now sees that okay, he is employee. When it reaches line 8, it says okay, he is an employee. That's all it knows for now. Okay, it is not concerned with what it contains. It will only be concerned with what it contains when we actually call functions like this. Okay. So for now, it just sees that okay, E is a variable which contains an employee object. That's all it sees. Okay, these are all comments. It ignores them, and now it comes to this. Okay, I need to print. What I need to print? I need to get secretary, but E is an employee reference, right? So now it sees this line. Okay, but E is being casted as a manager here. Okay, we are telling Java that think of E as a manager, and since it thinks of E as manager, so it allows it to invoke this method. Okay, that's why we're getting to print statement. That's why we're getting okay. So क्या हुआ? Let me say it in Hindi for all the people who complained about that I do not speak in Hindi much. Anyways, तो पहले देखो क्या हुआ जब जावा इस लाइन पे आया तब उसने कुछ नहीं देखा कि उसके अंदर क्या है उसने जस्ट देखा कि ओके ये एक वेरिएबल है जिसमें एक ऑब्जेक्ट है जो एम्प्लॉय क्लास का है। बस कि उसने इतना ही देखा। ठीक है ना। एंड देन वो नीचे गया जैसे ही वो प्रिंट करने गया उसने देखा कि ई मैनेजर है। ई इज बीइंग कास्टेड मैनेजर मतलब हम जावा को कह रहे हैं कि ई जो भी हो थिंक ऑफ इट एज ए मैनेजर कि मान लो ई इज मैनेजर since now e is manager for java it allows this get secretary method to be invoked by e okay so now so up e can call the get secretary okay so this was typecasting okay दोनों typecasting मैंने दिखा दी अच्छा e is instant okay ये भी कर सकते हैं okay so after this I can do this so let me send this now get secretary very and then I will system the out the print color and I do this. And the print is again data. Okay. So E is instance of manager. Okay, because we have changed it. Okay, we are changing it. Okay, cool. E instance of manager. Run this. Okay. Let me do this. That's fine, right? If E instance of manager. Okay. Then subtype in inheritance public ये सब मैंने पहले ही बता दिया है फाइल मैंने दिखा दिया है क्लास मैथ फाइनल में दिखा देता हूँ एक बार ओके मैं फाइनल यहाँ तो मैं नहीं दिखा रहा मैं यहाँ पे दिखा रहा हूँ इसको लेके दिखा देता हूँ बेटर रहेगा See, this is remember cannot override the final method from here. Okay, cannot override the final method from here because A is defined as a final. Okay, A is defined as a final. Cool. So this was final. Object plus okay. Equals object. मैंने एक और चीज बोल दी I will do but मैं कोई याद नहीं आ रहा मैंने क्या हुआ मेथड ओवरराइडिंग मैंने बता दिया ओवरलोडिंग मैंने बता दिया दिस इज करेक्ट कॉल ये भी मैंने बता दिया स्टैटिक टाइप चेकिंग ये हर्ष मेथड ओवरलोडिंग मुझे बता दिया मैंने ओवरलोडिंग बता दिया ओवरराइडिंग बता दिया सब स्टार्टिंग में भी कुछ छूटा तो मैं बाद में बता दूंगा नहीं। तो फाइनल हो गया ये हो गया एम्प्लॉय वाला हो गया ठीक है सो या दिस वाज ऑल कुछ डाउट है तो पूछ लेना कमेंट में ना बता दूंगा मैं एंड दिस वाज ऑल ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर कमिंग वीक्स वीक 4 का बस बचा हुआ है वीक 4 में मेरे को थोड़ी दिक्कत आ रही है दैट आई डू का मंडे वीक 4 काफी वास्ट है टाइम लगेगा उसको इंक्लूड करने में प्रॉब्ली मंडे या ट्यूसडे तक मैक्स टू मैक्स हो जाएगा वीक 4 मतलब दोनों थ्योरी और प्रैक्टिकल और ट्यूसडे तक आ गया तो थर्सडे थर्सडे एंड मैक्सिमम फ्राइडे तक मैं तुम्हारा 2 PY को करवा दूंगा। ट्राई करूंगा 3 का, बट 3 कांट प्रॉमिस बिकॉज मेरे 4 सब्जेक्ट हैं। तो 2 तो करवा दूंगा। एंड तुम्हारे पास सैटरडे का है, तुम्हें कुछ भी करना हो उसको कर लेना। या ऑल द बेस्ट।